Cloud. So good afternoon and welcome to Rock My Age in conversation with inspirational women that Erica and I have either admired from afar or that we've been lucky enough to meet in our own journeys. Now, Rock My Age has started as a platform to find out a real kind of conversation to find out what are the pillars that lead to a woman living the best, most joyful life possible. But at the same time, we haven't wanted to dodge the more difficult issues. And my guest today, we're going to talk about some of those more difficult issues that happen in all of our lives at some point, because if something hasn't happened to us already, it sure as hell is going to happen to us at some point. Now, for the past 10 years, I've been absolutely fascinated in the area of resilience and bounce back. And there's some fascinating government research out recently to say that women do not do as well in business, particularly starting their own businesses, because they take things too personally and possibly lack the bounce back that men seem to have more naturally. So that is going to be part of my conversation today. And I'm absolutely delighted to introduce Paula Kerr. She is the founder of Fitter Stronger, which is a fitness company. I met Paula about 8 years ago when I went on one of her fabulous retreats. And I was struck by this kind of human cannonball of positivity, energy, and just a life force of, and a real inspiration to me at the time of somebody who has had a lot of personal difficulties, but has got up and really pushed out there to start a whole new business, a whole new career. So first of all, I want to introduce Paula. Hi, Paula. Thank you.
Hello.
So great to have you on.
With pleasure.
So I want to start, Paula, by hearing a little bit about your personal story and about, you're a journalist like I was. You're a really successful tabloid news journalist where you have to have balls and resilience in spades. But then something happened which changed your life.
Yeah, so I was working as a journalist for that area and also mid-market and a few of the broadsheets and as a freelancer, and I was working as a news journalist and a feature writer, a bit of a jack of all trades if I'm honest, but that meant that I had a broad experience. It meant I could go off and do lots of different interesting things and travel a great deal. And then particularly as a news journalist and as a feature writer as well to some degree, you would see people when they were at the sharp end of emotion because something was happening in their life. You wouldn't write a story about nothing going on in somebody's life. So there was always something happening. And so I learned over 25 odd years as a journalist to kind of draw out the best with people without crossing a line, always parting with a handshake. You know, there were never any legals against me. It was always done, I think, with a good heart, no matter how difficult the story was. And so I was trucking along, having a great time, had a couple of children by then, was married, very happy, living in a leafy little part of Kent. Everything was going quite nicely. And then I had no intention of doing anything else, by the way. That's the only career I wanted. It's the career I wanted from the age of 15. It's the one I trained hard for and worked hard at. Had no intention of ever doing anything else. And then life has a funny way of throwing you curveballs. And one day I went in for some routine surgery. The routine surgery led to some tests. The test discovered that I had breast cancer. So even then, I remember looking at the doctor in his eyes and saying, "It's fine. It's going to be fine. Don't worry about it." Then I got out of the room, considered my children. My life collapsed a bit. And all the fear and worry that comes with a diagnosis like that took me away a little bit. And I had to try and figure out my way through that for the sake of my family and for my own sanity, and what was I going to do about my job and how to work all of that and all the stuff that you have to consider when life chucks you one of these grenades. And when I'm working with people now, I kind of stick with that mantra that I had back then. You've got two choices when life chucks you a grenade. You can either let it blow up your world and deal with all the shattered pieces all around you, or you can grab hold of it and run with it and try and do something about it and take some sort of control about your situation. And that's what I tried to do at that point. So at that point, I knew that a lot of decision making was being taken away from me. And there were some big changes that had to happen if I wanted to have any kind of treatment, which I did. And there was going to be impact from that treatment. It was an aggressive cancer, so chemotherapy was a must at that point if I wanted to stop it in its tracks. And that treatment went on for 2 years for various different reasons. So surgeries and different kinds of chemotherapy and so on that had to happen. So at the very beginning, I just wanted some sort of control over that situation. Not that I'm a control freak. I just wanted to know that I had some sort of stability in my world. And I had to seek that. So I was already a bit of a gym bunny. I quite enjoyed that. That was my happy place. You know, just doing fun stuff, nothing serious, just trotting along with my friends, doing a little bit of a workout from time to time, maybe 2 or 3 times a week if I was lucky. And so I went and got hold of this PT that I'd been working with, this personal trainer, an incredible guy called Chase Coles. And we sat and we had a little quiet chat. And I said to him, look, I'm not really sure how any of this is going to work out. And I remember repeating that sentence quite a lot. The only thing I know is I'm going to have to stay quite strong throughout it. This guy was ex-army. He was known in my gym for being hardcore. He was the one I chose to train with before I got ill. And he just said, look, I've got you. Don't worry. We'll keep you strong. We'll find a way through it.
So, Paula, you started your fitness company. And so because of you kind of wanting to, because I know when I was at your retreat, you was very much around, you know, making sure this isn't just about keeping your body strong, but keeping your mind strong and just looking at the whole kind of person and accepting the reality of what you're in. And then, you know, making a plan, accepting things have changed, making a plan and then getting on with it. Is that what you kind of came to?
Yeah, so I carried on working as a journalist for the next year or so. And then there was one pivotal time where I kind of wanted to draw a line in the sand. I was towards the end of my treatment. I was about 3/4 through. And before I was diagnosed, I planned to climb Snowdon. I was training for it. And I was mad as hell because I had to cancel it. It was the first thing that I had to completely stop doing. Cancer had taken over and I wasn't able to do it. I kind of argued with myself about it for several weeks, but finally realised that it was just not going to be possible. I wasn't going to be strong enough at that point. So, that's my dog. Sorry. What I decided to do was go ahead and replan that Snowdon trip. So my friend said, don't worry, if you want to go up Snowdon, that's fine. Why don't you do it in a year's time and we'll all come with you and we can turn it into a big party. Yeah. So I said, okay, fine. So a year later, we kind of got to that point, and by then I was doing okay and I was getting a bit stronger and I could kind of start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I thought, you know what, if I'm going to do a mountain, let's not muck about with Snowdon. Let's do a dirty great mountain. Let's do Ben Nevis, biggest mountain in Britain. So I asked these lovely friends if they'd do that, and they all rolled their eyes and said, yes, fine. So we all went to Ben Nevis and we did that, and it was incredible. And that kind of made me realise that even at that point, I was still on chemotherapy. I was towards the end of my targeted chemotherapy and I was still climbing mountains. I thought, wow, this exercise stuff is really powerful. Yeah. So I remembered as a journalist having a chat with the Olympic rower James Cracknell before he had his head injury and after his head injury, and thinking, do you know what, he used the same thing. He used exercise to keep himself focused all the way through his treatment like I did, and to make his body strong. And I thought, well, if it's worked for me, this journalist mum of two, and it's worked for this Olympic athlete, then surely this principle is going to work for loads of other people. And I've been looking around for a fitness break of some kind, anything that would just be, for me specifically, somebody who was under treatment and needed some good nutrition advice, somebody that was kind of a little bit targeted towards that. Couldn't find anything. So I thought, well, fine, I'll just set it up myself. So I called on that PT, and I called on fantastic team of nutritionists, a couple of motivational speakers, and I put together this fitness holiday, and that's how Fitter Stronger came about. And it was designed for people who were coping with illness, injury, or trauma. These days, those people are still very welcome, but it's broadened out, and pretty much it's open to everybody.
So in this time, I mean, obviously such a fascinating journey. The fact you went up a mountain on chemotherapy is just, oh my God, extraordinary. But so now we're in the middle of lockdown, and you've had to change your business. You've had to put your business online. We've all had to flex and do things differently. And for some of us, I think lockdown's been quite good. It's given us a bit of space and a bit of thinking time, and I've started running, which is kind of something I've not done before, but I think we all know for other people, it is a nightmare. And, you know, just sitting at a desk all the time, being kind of slumped over, not moving the body enough. Are there some kind of quick little tips you can give to our audience out there of just, if they're, I mean, even I do yoga every single day, but I still feel I'm kind of need to do a bit more aerobic stuff. Could you give some tips to us women out there about how to kind of maybe take an opportunity to get a bit fitter?
Yeah, the first thing is, don't think everybody in their houses have turned into gym bunnies and you're there in your PJs and you're the only one, because I'm sure that isn't the case. The first thing is stop beating yourself up. If you're moving, then that's great. If you're dancing around your kitchen, that's great. It all counts. If you're getting out and getting some fresh air, big points to you, that's great too. So the main thing is with exercise, I think it's vital, because if you do the kind of exercise that gets your heart rate up, because that's going to release the good endorphins, it's going to suppress cortisol, the stress hormone in your brain, it's going to bring your shoulders back down, and then you can focus. If you're having a really hard time during lockdown, and I think all of us have had this kind of wave that we've ridden along through it, where there are peaks and troughs and days when you think it's all cool and other days when it's really difficult. Two things. One is go with it, roll with the punches, allow yourself to feel a bit rubbish when you need to. And on the good days, seize them and do something with them, make a plan. Get your diary just like you used to when you were out and about doing whatever it was you did before lockdown. And think, right, okay, if I want to exercise 3 times a week, I'm going to put it in my diary, I'm going to make it important. And try and cover 3 areas. Try and do something where you're getting your heart rate up. I mean, if you want a real quick fix with that, go and have a look at Joe Wicks's videos. You know, he's great. He's terrific. He'll get your heart rate up for 10 minutes. Brilliant. It's not a big commitment. If you want a bit more, message me and I'll give you something to do. We can talk.
Right. And your dog's off as well. But just so really good, that's really, really helpful. So your company is fitterstronger.org, and what's next in the pipeline? Because I hear you're up to something else at the moment.
So much stuff. There's so much going on. So I don't just run fitness holidays. I work as a personal trainer. All of that work's gone online, which has been fantastic actually, because it means that now, instead of just working in the area that is near to me, to people there, I'm now training people all over the country, which is great. We're hoping that my fitness holiday is going to run in November, very much working towards that. That's in South Africa, which should be terrific. And then the other thing which I'm very passionate about is working with young people. There are a lot of young people in lockdown who are coping with anxiety, who are starting to develop agoraphobic tendencies. And I work with a whole bunch of schools, working with those kids and mentoring them and making sure that they're exercising. And all of them, when I've spoken to them after 6 weeks, we did a little poll, and all of them said that the exercise was really helping. And this is teenagers who need persuading to do everything, right? But these guys were great, and they were saying, they were just saying, you know, it helped more than they thought it would. They thought it would be awful, and actually it made them calm. It gave them confidence, and it helps them focus, and then they can make the decisions.
Fantastic. Paula, thank you so much for your time today. Really, really great. And that's fitterstronger.org. Anybody who wants to know more about you or about the program you run. Thanks, Paula.
Thank you. And congratulations. Well done.